Hey guys, Dr. Josh Matson here with Infinity Chiropractic Center. I'm going to talk about some handwriting issues today, and really what causes them, what's going on with those kids, and really why a lot of those handwriting issues or fine motor skills, why they're having a lot of difficulties with those. So, kind of to put it this way, the things that will cause kids to have difficulty with handwriting is if they don't have coordination of their hand, which I'll talk about why there's different reflexes that create coordination issues of their hand. If they have a visual tracking issue, if they can't physically track what they're trying to write, that's when you'll see like letters all over the page. Or they have a visual perceptual issue, their perception of their vision and their hand-eye coordination, and that perception there is off. And I actually made a kind of a way for you guys to perceive what that's like, a little bit of a I'll kind of explain it a little bit here what I'm going to do, but I'm going to create a visual processing issue in myself, and then I'm going to have and I'm going to try to trace a letter. So just so you guys can kind of experience and kind of feel what it's like to be a kid that has a visual processing issue, and why it's so difficult for them to have handwriting handwriting issues, or why it's so difficult to create that movement. I'm going to kind of explain that to you. But so first and foremost, talking about just coordination of the hand. There's a reflex called an asymmetrical tonic neck reflex that every time you turn your head, let's say they're right-handed, and they turn their head towards that side, they're gonna have a reflex that makes them want to open their hand. So it's really difficult to grip a pen if you have a reflex that every time you turn towards a page to try to write, you have a reflex that your hand is wanting to open. So that creates a lot of coordination issues, and that's called an asymmetrical tonic neck reflex. It's a reflex that we get rid of all the time, and it improves handwriting dramatically in a lot of kids. Also creates a lot of reading issues, balance, coordination issues, stuff like that as well. It also helps to develop the eyes tracking from side to side, which helps with visual processing and things like that, and visual tracking. But I'm gonna show you this thing that I kind of set up here to. I'm going to show you this so you can kind of experience what it's like to be a kid with a visual processing issue, and why it's so difficult. So I made this. This is a new letter. It's in the English alphabet that I just created. So that's the newest letter in the English alphabet, and I'm going to try to recreate that, but with a visual processing issue. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a mirror so we can see this kind of, right? So I'm going to use a mirror and try to recreate what I just drew there, but with only looking at the mirror. So I'm visually not able to perceive efficiently what's going on. I know this is backwards, but this is the best way to create it in my own head. But I'm visually not able to perceive where my hand is in space, which is going to create a lot of issues here. So I'm only going to look at this, and I'm going to try to recreate it. I'm going to try to do it normally I should be able to copy that in, 15 seconds. So let's say I was in a normal classroom with kids that could normally perceive this, and I have 15 to 20 seconds to make this new letter happen. So I'm just going to count it down and try to do it as fast as I can. So here we go. I can only look at the mirror. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I can't even do it in 16 seconds, but so now you can see is when I create a visual processing issue in myself, let me move the camera just a little bit, but I created a visual processing issue in myself. I was visually not able to perceive where my hand is effectively, and then create a motor pattern to make a writing. But you'll see pink is what mine is, blue is what the original was, and you see how a lot of your kids that struggle with handwriting, that's what their handwriting looks like. It's all over the place. There's no coordination to it. It's squiggly all over, and they have no perception because they visually can't see. So visually can't see it effectively. They don't have visual perception. So what kind of just to explain what it develops that visual tracking and the visual perception and knowing where their body is in space comes from a lot of different things, but it's usually a developmental issue. So kids developmentally haven't quite developed the way that they should, and that all starts with they never develop their primitive reflexes appropriately. So primitive reflexes are reflexes that should go away in the first really year of life or less for a lot of them. If they don't develop appropriately, you don't develop hand-eye coordination effectively, you don't develop eye tracking appropriately, you don't develop good muscle tone in your hand or in your body effectively, which creates a lot of problems. After that, typically kids don't, those primitive reflexes help to develop three main systems. They help to develop the musculature of the eyes and the eyes to track appropriately. They help to develop what's called your vestibular system, which sits on the very inside of your ear, and it's what tells you, like, if I'm turning my head to the right, it tells my eyes that I'm going to the left. Or if I turn my head to the left, it tells my eyes I'm going to the right. Your vestibular system also plays into, like, balance. It plays into coordination. It plays into eye tracking. It plays into perception of where you are in relation to gravity. And then also the other thing is what's called your postural system, your postural muscles, the muscles along your neck, the muscles along your spine, muscles in your back, the ones that give you information about where you are in space, where your arm is in space, and all that type of stuff. So if you don't develop primitive reflexes appropriately, you therefore cannot develop eye tracking appropriately. You can't develop vestibular or balance appropriately. You can't develop muscle tone appropriately. So you see kids that have low muscle tone, they have awful posture, they sit like this, they have really bad balance. And if you have them track, just put a dot on your finger and have them track like this for a minute. You're going to see their eyes jump, jump, jump. They'll be all over the place. They won't be able to follow anything. Their eyes will just be following. You'll see them jump all over, just like mine are. They'll be everywhere after a little while. And also, a lot of times if you even go in like this and have them converge their eyes in, they can't even converge their eyes. So like I'll have kids that start and they see double within 3 feet. So just think of like that relating to, well, every time I try to write, I'm going to see 2 of everything. And also, anytime I try to read, I'm going to see 2 of everything. So, which makes it really hard to learn. So when it comes to handwriting, there's a lot of things that can play into it. And there's a lot of things that, it's one of the most consistent things we see in here to get better is handwriting, because we improve, first and foremost, how their postural muscles are functioning and telling them where they are in space, how their eyes are tracking, how their vestibular system is giving them perception of when they move, how they're moving and how their body is in space. So that's the biggest thing, is they don't know where they are, and their eyes aren't telling them the right information to know where their hand is. So kind of fun. You can set this up at home, super easy, but it gives you the experience of what it's like to have a kid with a handwriting issue that's coming from abnormal visual processing, not simply that they just can't write. That's the thing is, they say, oh, this kid has really poor handwriting, let's just make him write more. Well, if this was your handwriting and it was as frustrating as it was for me, it makes it really hard and really frustrating. And also your kid doesn't feel, everyone else is like, oh, it's so easy. Well, for them, it's not easy. It's really hard. That's extremely difficult. It doesn't help their, self-esteem at all or anything like that. But if your kid's having those issues, get them checked. Let's see if let's see how their eyes are tracking. Let's see if we can make improvements to that. Let's see if they have primitive reflexes that are affecting that. And see what's going on. But anyways, have a great day. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or whatever, post on here. Have a great day.